It was 1970. The Vietnam War was already lost in the hearts of many Americans. Protests were growing louder, but in the dense jungles of South Vietnam, one brutal firefight had just begun. It would become one of the last major battles of the war, and one of the most deadly and forgotten. Firebase Ripcord was a remote mountaintop outpost near the A Shau Valley, deep in enemy-controlled territory. Originally constructed in 1968 and later abandoned, Ripcord was reactivated in March 1970 for a new mission, Operation Chicago Peak. The goal was to disrupt North Vietnamese army supply lines that ran through the valley, but the outpost was a trap waiting to be sprung. From the beginning, things felt wrong. Helicopters delivering supplies took constant small arms fire. Recon teams vanished into the jungle. American patrols reported movement in the trees. Too coordinated, too quiet. By early July, it was clear Ripcord was surrounded. The North Vietnamese army had secretly moved over 25,000 troops into the region. The Americans? Just over 400 men from the 101st Airborne Division. They were outnumbered 60 to 1. On July 1st, 1970, the NVA launched a full-scale assault. Mortars rained down. Artillery pounded the hilltop. Wave after wave of enemy fighters surged forward in coordinated attacks. Men fought hand-to-hand. Communications were lost. Ammunition ran low. Firebase Ripcord became a burning crater on a hill, defended by exhausted, wounded, and cornered soldiers. What followed was 23 days of non-stop combat. Apache gunships and Phantom jets screamed overhead. Medics worked by flashlight. Soldiers dug trenches in the mud and ash to survive another barrage. Survivors described the noise as unbearable, a constant roar of explosions, screams, and the clatter of machine guns. Despite being surrounded, the men of the 101st held the hill. They rotated squads in shifts, sleeping for minutes at a time. Nobody left their weapon. Nobody knew when the next shell would land. On July 23rd, the order finally came: evacuate Ripcord. But pulling out under fire was just as dangerous as staying. Chinooks and Hueys made desperate landings under mortar and sniper fire. Smoke grenades marked the landing zones. Soldiers carried the wounded and dead aboard while bullets cracked overhead. In the chaos, many helicopters were hit. Some crashed. Others limped back to base trailing smoke. By July 24th, the last Americans were gone. Firebase Ripcord was abandoned once again. In 23 days, 75 Americans were killed and over 400 wounded. The NVA suffered well over 500 casualties, possibly more, but the true number is unknown. For years, the Pentagon kept the battle quiet, fearing backlash at home. It wasn't until decades later that the bravery shown at Ripcord began to be recognized. Firebase Ripcord didn't win the war. It didn't shift the balance. But it showed something else, that even when outnumbered, outgunned, and nearly forgotten, American soldiers could hold the line. They fought for their brothers beside them, for survival, for duty, and they did what was asked of them, on a hill that should never have been taken in the first place. Some battles fade into history, others are buried beneath it. But Firebase Ripcord should never be forgotten.